is a special KIRO 7 Seafair presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen, the curtains have opened here in one of Mother Nature's most beautiful theaters, and you're about to feast your eyes and ears to an extravagant show. Seattle gathers here today for the 56th time, celebrating the highlight of another summer in the great Northwest. And for 21 years, KIRO 7 has been proud to bring you this amazing show. The beautiful blue waters of Lake Washington are the stage. Mount Rainier looks down approvingly as we, the citizens of this, the high-tech capital of the world, display that daring, fun-loving spirit that makes our area so special. Over the next 7 hours, you'll witness the annual race of the world's fastest boats. You'll see the world's greatest pilots and powerful fighter jets as they streak across the skies and across your screens. You'll see amazing stunt airplanes. You're about to experience a never-ending panorama of excitement. And as we speak, thousands continue to flock into this grand and scenic outdoor theater. Our cameras and broadcast team are ready to again present the longest live local television show in America, starring over a dozen 200-mile-an-hour unlimited hydroplanes, starring the Blue Angels. It's all coming to you right now as KIRO 7 presents the Chevrolet Cup at Seafair.
The hydros have been quiet all year, but now they're ready to rumble. It's a Seattle summertime tradition. All the thrills and chills.
Here they come. It's going to be close.
The speed and excitement.
Look at that motor. Oh,
It's time for the 2006 Chevrolet Cup at Seafair. And it starts right now. The 2006 Chevy Cup at Seafair is brought to you by your Northwest Chevy dealers, Chevrolet, the official vehicle of Seafair, and by Southwest Airlines, the official airlines of Seafair.
The shores of Lake Washington on a warm summer morning provide the background. The stage is set on a watery amphitheater that has seen a host of champions for more than half a century. This is one of the biggest events in all of sports, and you have a front row seat for the entire day of fun and excitement. And hello again, everyone, from Stan Sayers Pits on the shores of Lake Washington. Steve Rabel reporting. Welcome to KIRO 7's day-long continuing coverage of the Chevrolet Cup here at Seafair. And let us begin with a bit of an apology. We had a massive power hit down here in Stan Sayers Pits, and literally all the power was out, not only to our television, but to the PA system here. We had to get all that back up and get all our computers going before we could come back on the air. So we apologize for being a couple of minutes late, but we still will have a full day of racing. And join us, 300,000 of our friends are down here for the biggest garden party in all of the country. Again, thanks for joining us today and joining me up here in the pits to talk about the races and to serve as our color commentator, as he has for so many years, hydroplane racing legend and Motorsports Hall of Fame member Chip Hanauer. And Chip, I hope the downtime here because of the electrical problem isn't an omen of things to come today.
No, it's just the opposite. I got good news for you. You know, I was a boat racer for 150 years, and when everything looked perfect on race morning, everything went to heck. When things looked the darkest, that's when they ran really well. So everything's going to be just fine.
And as the races go, what do you think about the competition? You have the boat to beat the Elam boat. There are a lot of other pretty good teams.
Well, a really interesting thing has happened. When Budweiser left, they had a lot of great equipment. They had a lot of great people. That equipment and that people has been spread amongst a bunch of new teams with some new, young, aggressive drivers. It's going to be great.
Just one of the storylines we'll be following today. That coming up, we have boat racing to boot and a lot of air show for you, so stand by. More from Stan Sayers Pits as the Chevrolet Cup from Seafair is just getting started.
Hey, up, and get up. Seafair.
Oh, what? Oh, man. Good morning. Chris Oppon here with the Mike's Hard Lemonade Fan Cam. Sunday, Seafair, you know exactly where we are, down at the races. Couldn't be a better day. This year, I thought I'd be smart. Get down here a little early so I don't have to deal with all the congested traffic in the morning. So I came down late last night. But apparently, at the Mike's Party House, there's a rule that if you're not here by 2 a.m., you don't get to come in. You got to sleep outside. So here I am. Mike's Hard Lemonade. Cold, hard, refreshing. Kind of sounds like the way I slept last night.
And again, you're looking live. The log boom is set up. The finger piers are here at Stan Sayers Pits, and we're set for some racing in just a couple of minutes. Again, because of the power surge down here that knocked everything out for a time, we are a little bit behind time. So we want to fill you in on what we have for you today. Lots of racing, certainly, in the air show. We will be getting and introduce you to, along the way, Mike Fitzsimmons and Pat O'Day, who are at the start-finish tower, which is to my left down here, just north on Lake Washington Boulevard. Bill Rocky, Guard Swanson from our sports department are down in the pits. They'll be bringing you all the stories from the drivers and the boat camps today. And, of course, Chip Hanauer and I will be up here to kind of organize it all and to tell you about the air show. The great Blue Angels performance is coming up later this afternoon as well. So lots to get in, lots of racing to do. Racing that happened yesterday that we will be bringing you today in its entirety on videotape. So stand by. A full day here, the Chevrolet Cup at Seafair. The fans are set. The boats are about to get wet, and you are ready at home for a day of action. And we've got it for you right here on KIRO 7. Don't go away. It's time to do some unlimited hydroplane racing, Heat 1A. And how about a throwback to the old days? The only piston-powered boat in the field. How will it do? Thierret, the Gold Cup champ, the winner here a year ago. Can he do it again? And finally, J. Michael Kelly is going to be trailing, but at least he's got a boat on the water after a week ago. Those are your headlines. This is Heat 1A.
Heat 1A of the Chevy Cup at Seafair is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, the official airlines of Seafair, and is presented for Seafair by Graham Trucking. Drivers wanted at GrahamTrucking.com.
And the boats are making their way to the course. Here is your lineup for Heat 1A. The Acura of Seattle, U3. The FormulaBoats.com 2. There are two of those. Keep those straight today. Miss Car Pros, the Plumbing Joint, and Miss Beacon Plumbing. Todd Haas American Dream, and the trailer, the Acura of Bellevue. Taking a look out to the course, you see the boats are starting to get out there, warm themselves up a little bit on the cold waters of Lake Washington, but not choppy at all. A beautiful day for racing. Let's take a look at the drivers. With the only piston power in the field, the Acura of Seattle and Jimmy King. Ed Cooper has a fast hull here, Mike.
He surely has, and Jimmy has been pushing it very well, driving this boat as well as anybody ever has. This boat is an outside threat. The question is whether that great big V12 can run with the turbines on this short course.
Bill Rocky is in the pits. Does Jimmy King think he has a chance out here, Bill?
You bet he does, Steve. He actually was neck and neck with Dave Villwock in the final last week until a battery failed. Yesterday, they went 150. This morning, they found a couple more miles an hour and turned a lap of 152.
They will need all they can get. Mike Allen is in the Formula.com 2 boat, and he is a rookie, Chip.
He's a rookie, first time to Seattle, but that boat should know its way around this race course all by itself because it's an old Budweiser hull.
This is an interesting story here. Chris Bertram is a young guy. Mike and Laurie Jones are back in racing. They put it together for just the Tri-Cities and Seattle runs.
Got this rig together to bring her back out again on Lake Washington. First time we've seen them in a couple of years. Chris Bertram is a young driver with a lot of promise, and he's got a lot of boat with a lot of speed.
We talked about J. Michael Kelly in the Acura of Bellevue being the trailer boat. Chip, he's lucky he's got a boat on the water at all.
Bad accident last week in Tri-Cities, but J. Michael Kelly might be the most gifted driver out here today.
One of the two plumbing boats that we have in Kevin Aylesworth at the controls. The first year for this team using Dr. Ken Muscatel's boat from a year ago.
And Kevin is stepping up to Unlimited from the Unlimited Lights. He was a hard threat in that class, and he is living out his dream as an Unlimited hydroplane driver.
Here's the other of our plumbing entries, the Beacon Plumbing boat, Jean Thierret. And Chip, all we could do was talk about him in glowing terms a year ago.
He's had a really rough year this year. Lots of missed buoys, or a lot of hit buoys, a lot of mistakes, but he had one great heat, and it happened to be the final heat of the Gold Cup.
Bill Rocky, he likes this course here in Seattle, doesn't he?
You bet he does, Steve. I just talked to him, and he really wants to win here again. He crashed in Evansville, and they've been trying to get the boat back to normal. One of the crew members told me it doesn't look as good, but it is a little faster right now.
Virtually no wind on the course as Todd Haas, the American Dream boat with Greg Hopp. This is Fred Leland's team, Mike.
This is probably the fastest of Leland's fleet out here. Greg Hopp has had some problems with the boat. Hasn't had a whole lot of time in it this year, but he's a guy who knows how to move his way around this Lake Washington race course. So look for him to come on strong.
Very little wind today as we are approaching 1 minute to go as they now slow down to score up. 77 degrees warming up out here. And Pat O'Day, what a wonderful way to start. Isn't it great to have the Unlimiteds back on the water again?
Oh, it is. And, you know, we've got Jimmy King in the Acura of Seattle and J. Michael Kelly in the Acura of Bellevue, Kevin Aylesworth in the plumbing joint, and Jean Thioret in the Beacon plumbing. So we're going to find out in Heat 1A which Acura dealer is going to give us the best deal and which plumber will be the quickest.
When you want to call, that's for sure. Right now, nobody very quick as they're going up to the upper part of the course with 35 seconds. And Chip, they're always pushing the early side on this.
This looks like an ugly start to me, Mike. The boat on the inside there, I think that's Mike Allen, who's really early. You got boats spread all over the race course. They ought to be all lined up. This is pretty ugly.
They're way off on power. Time is still ticking down. Their run to the start-finish line from the north turn on this race course is a short run, and these guys are just barely on plane to get there. On the inside, it's going to be the Acura of Seattle, Jimmy King, but will he be able to throttle up fast enough to make it go of it? Thioret's coming along strong. Is he going to make it in time? Looks like he does, and that was a nice start for Thioret.
Beautiful start. It doesn't get any better than that.
Down into the first corner now, everybody trying to get up to speed. Lots of boats going through that lower corner, but Thioret on the outside getting a perfect start, gets himself out of trouble right away. And looks like somebody might have gotten pushed to the inside of the course.
John Thioret was kind of cinching it up on everybody, and that stacked everybody up on the inside. He was on the verge of getting a call for that. Look at this race, Mike. Somebody's coming up on the inside. I think it's Mike Allen.
That is Mike Allen. He's pushing hard in the formulaboats.com as they go into the upper turn for the first time of 3 around here in Pat O'Day. He is slamming that corner.
Absolutely. What a great run so far. And coming off the exit buoy, it's John Thioret. Completing lap 1, he's got about a 175-foot lead over the Formula boat.
And the Formula boat is not going to let go of them. They're coming on strong in third place. It's Acura of Seattle with Jimmy King and the Todd Haas American Dream in fourth place. Out of the lower corner again, Chip. And Sean Thioret's got everything he can possibly be doing to try to keep this Formula boat from overtaking him.
He does, and what he's got to remember is he's got to leave at least 5 boat lengths before he can come across here. You know, you can't cut somebody off. You've got to give him 5 boat lengths, and he doesn't have that yet.
He does not, and the Formula boat, Mike Allen's going to push that. Rookie's going to try to come in a little bit harder this time. But it looks as though he has slipped to the outside now, and that's the kiss of death. He will not be able to overtake him. And at this point, Thioret now knows he owns this. If he can just keep it running, he comes down, gets the checkered flag at the end of lap number 2 for the Beacon Plumbing. Billy Shoemaker's yellow U-37, the historic number of the old Miss Seattle, Pat.
Thioret is flying that boat, and Billy Shoemaker's on his way to the trailer for some blood pressure medicine.
No doubt about it. Through the corner now comes the formulaboats.com to Mike Allen, the rookie, giving a good account of himself. And Chip, I like the way he drives. Push up, let him know you're there, but this is a preliminary heat. Don't do anything stupid.
He did, and I wouldn't be surprised if his radio man came on the radio and said, you know, just back out of it. Let's take the second. Let's take those points and move towards the final. John Thioret has had a lot of problems getting through these preliminary heats without hitting buoys or jumping guns, but this one, it looks like he's clean.
The French-Canadian slowing down through the corner, going to give himself a nice wide berth. And here he comes down to take the checkered flag, and Heat 1A of the Chevrolet Cup belongs to Jean Thioret in the U-37.
That was a beautiful start. He hit that right on the button.
Second place overall down to the start-finish line is the formulaboats.com too. Mike Allen, the rookie. The winner at Valley Field, by the way, as a rookie, so he's already felt the checkered flag a couple of times. The other red boat, that's one right there. And that, of course, the Acura of Seattle, Jimmy King in that Allison-powered boat. He was still in the hunt, but not quite fast enough to wind it up with these other guys into that first corner.
Look at this race coming in 4th, 5th. It's going to be real close.
And and it's going to be the 13 boat, the Acura Bellevue with J. Michael Kelly. That's got to feel good to finish a heat after he went upside down and doggone near came down on top of the old boy Alberto over in Tri-City just a week ago.
Well, it looks like he got a 4th place finish, and that's great when you consider that he was the trailer boat, meaning he had to let everybody else start ahead of him. But the other boats were up there so early that for a trailer boat, that's the best case scenario. You know, Mike, we're going to have a real problem, I think, with these formula boats when they both get in the same heat. I just don't know how we're going to be able to tell these formula boats apart. They both are that old Budweiser red, and I just don't know how we're going to tell them apart.
One of them has a long snout the cowling, and the other one does not. Now, if they take that cowling off, then we're going to have a problem.
Did you say I had a long snout?
No, I was referring to the red boat.
Okay. Chip, the U5.
What Chip now? Chip, never mind.
The U5 has that saltwater snout that sticks way out over the cockpit, and that's how you can spot Jeff Bernard and differentiate him from Mike Allen.
Because those two boats look exactly the same, and I tell you, I'm really excited to see Jeff Bernard come, because remember, he had that great provisional heat last year. Well, let's see what he can do in a real piece of equipment.
And so there's the equipment, the Miss Beacon Plumbing, and it did the job for John Theoret in Heat 1A. He wins it. FormulaBoats.com 2 is second. Acura of Seattle, followed by Todd Haas, American Dream, Acura of Bellevue, the Plumbing Joint, and Miss Car Pros bringing up the rear of Heat 1A. To the award stage now, and Seafair's Dan Mortel.
Thank you. Welcome to the Chevrolet Cup at Seafair Award Stage. Here to present the award for Heat 1A is Rob Graham.
Thank you. Hey, this guy is just one awesome driver. He is a Canadian, John Theoret, right? I hope I did that right, but he's just one heck of a driver. We're sure glad he's here.
Well, folks, this is a real nice way to start off the weekend, you know, for the Beacon Plumbing boat. Thank God for the first win, first heat. And we're really excited of this win on Saturday, and it's really nice to be here. Thank you.
That John Theoret. Heat 1A in the books from yesterday. When we come back, Heat 1B, you're watching live KIRO 7 coverage of the Chevrolet Cup at Seafair.
Heat 1A of the Chevy Cup at Seafair has been brought to you by Southwest Airlines, the official airlines of Seafair.
Heat 1B, let's take a look at the storylines we'll be following in this race. We've got last week's winner in the Tri-Cities, the Elam boat, clearly the class of the field. Can they do it today? The new driver in an old boat. It's the old Budweiser, Jeff Bernard at the controls, and your points leader, the man who stays out of trouble and just seems to score points, Steve David. All part of Heat 1B.
Heat 1B of the Chevy Cup at Seafair is presented for Seafair by Key Bank, proud sponsor of the Key Bank Air Show.
And taking a look now at your draw for Heat 1B, the Elam Plus, the U1 boat, Graham Trucking, FormulaBoats.com, that's the #1 boat. Oh boy, Alberto, Todd Haas presents Fairweather Masonry and the Miss Lake Ridge Paving, both the U99. A little under 4 minutes to go before we go racing here in 1B, and the boats, as you can see, are just all over the place here in Lake Washington, the pleasure craft that is, while the hydroplanes are getting set to score up. Let's talk about the drivers. And at the top of the list is the guy, the winningest active driver, at least in unlimited hydroplane racing, Dave Villwock in the Elam, and simply, Michael, he is the boat to beat.
Absolutely the boat to beat, and interesting, he may have telegraphed his early strategy by running timing starts out in the 6th lane today, which is the possibility that he wants to stay out of trouble. Everybody else is going to try to goad him into a boat race.
Bill Rocky, you know Dave Villwock as well as anybody. He loves to win in Seattle.
That's right, Steve, and last year he didn't, and he hasn't forgotten it. Nobody out here wants to win this more than he does.
Dr. Ken Muscatel is in the Graham Trucking boat, the 2.25, and I always love saying this at least once every year, Chip, the world's fastest forensic psychologist.
It doesn't matter whether you need psychoanalysis or a boat driven 200 miles an hour, the doctor is in.
Here's that other Formula boat, the Formula.com #1, Jeff Bernard. He took over, Mike, when Mike Webber decided to retire.
That's exactly right, and he steps up into one powerful racing boat, and I think that this young kid has got the stuff.
The oh boy Alberto, Steve David, and as we said, Chip, he just tries to stay out of trouble, but he is the defending points champion.
He doesn't win a lot of races, but he doesn't go pointless in any races either. He just keeps racking up points, and right now he's leading the driver's standings.
Taking a look at the Todd Haas and the Fairweather Masonry, J.W. Myers at the controls. This guy qualified at over 150 miles an hour.
This is a veteran whom I think is one of the best thinking drivers out there. Look for him to cause some trouble.
And finally, the Lake Ridge paving boat, and quite a story here, Chip, with Terry Troxel recovering from a mild stroke the day after Christmas.
Yeah, this is an amazing story, and Terry is still having problems with his speech of all things, but it doesn't seem to affect the way he drives the boat.
Bill Rocky, you've been down in that pit today, Lake Ridge Paving. How's Terry Troxel doing?
He got into the boat with a big smile on his face. I just talked to one of his crew members. He said he's ready to go. He's excited to go, and we'll see how he does.
Well, it may be a lot like riding a bike. You just don't fall off once you learn how to do it. A minute and a half before we're racing. The course is calm. The weather, again, continues to be just fabulous. And Pat O'Day, more good boat racing coming up, and a couple of very fast boats.
Yes, and with the aerodynamic improvements and the technological improvements, as you look at the Elam, you are probably looking at the finest unlimited hydroplane ever built, and driven by one of the great drivers of all time, Dave Villwock. He's the guy to beat in this heat.
There's a couple of guys out there who know that too, Patrick, and they're going to hang with him. Both Steve David and J.W. There you see the three of them. They're going to try to keep the Elam in their mirrors. They're trying to work with him. It looks as though Villwock is going to get lane number one. The other guys are going to try to stay with him, and I'm not quite sure he's going to get number one. J.W. has slipped inside and is trying to see if he can't pick that lane off.
Yeah, just behind the Elam boat, which is the bright orange boat, there's a guy trying to get his nose up inside there, but I don't think Dave's going to let him in there.
No, it doesn't look like it. It looks like J.W. is slipping back just a little bit. So it will be the Elam in lane number one. It looks like it's going to be the oh boy Alberto in the two-lane. Myers has decided to go out to three, it looks like, so that's where they'll try to score up here. Again, we're a little early on the upper side, Chip.
Yeah, you know, and it's pretty hard to beat the Elam boat when he's got the inside lane. But again, this is a preliminary heat. No need to push it too hard.
Troxel very wide on the outside, going to make a start from the extreme outside. We're 8 seconds away from the start as we tick things down. You can see him coming at us. It may be a little early.
It looks like Alberto. No,
we got to start.
Legal.
It looks like it's legal. It looks like Steve David was the first guy across the line. He is in the center lower portion of your screen. An excellent start for the oh boy Alberto. Through the first quarter they go. J.W. right in there with him. J.W. Myers, the yellow boat. The Elam on the inside, pinching just a little bit, but there's boat speed to come down this back chute. Let's see if they've got it. It looks like J.W. Myers is going to pull out front now from the two-lane. What a great boat race we've got for 1, 2, 3, and 4 down there, Patrick.
It's a dandy, and now J.W. Myers has that rooster tail lead over the Elam. He can close the door on him, and he did so right now. Look at him just kiss that exit buoy. Coming down to complete lap number one.
Coming off that corner, some great driving by J.W. Myers. I told you this guy would be a troublemaker, and boy, isn't he. Uh-oh, bad news for the Elam. It looks like that Dave Villwock has fallen out of the race.
You know, and I don't know if that was a mechanical or maybe somebody got in his way and got him wet, but that makes it really tough to not get not get points in the heat to make it to the final. But remember, he flipped the boat in the first heat last week and came back and won the final.
Down the back chute, J.W. Myers is your leader, staying out of trouble out there. Steve David just outside of him on that reverse shot as you're looking across the Lake Washington racecourse, this Ted Jones racecourse. There's your leader, the bright yellow boat, J.W. Myers.
Look at that on the outside. Look at Steve David come on the outside, Mike.
Great dueling deck on deck through the upper corner. They get around the Elam.
Whoa,
they were very close. Very close.
The Elam was trying to come back onto the race course, and J.W. Myers just got by his bow. There couldn't have been 2 feet there.
They are neck and neck at the end of lap 2, side by side.
Down into the lower corner one more time, and it's J.W. Myers who's got everything he could possibly imagine coming from that old boy Alberto, and they are pushing a whole lot of water out there at this time. Dave Villwock has gotten restarted and is becoming a factor down there in that lower corner as the other boats try to get around him. J.W. up the back chute. Steve David is working him. He has a little more acceleration, and he zips right on by him.
tell you, to go around a boat on the outside, you have to have far superior performance because that boat on the inside got a much shorter distance coming down to the wire.
This is going to be a drag race. This is going to be beautiful. Through the middle portion of that upper turn, J.W. Myers on the inside. It is the Old Boy Alberta with Stephen David on the outside, and they are going to see who has the fastest boat now. It looks like J.W. is going to hang on and win it by a boat length. At the end of lap number 3, it is J.W. Myers across the line first.
He got a better turn. He got a better last turn there, and that's what made the difference.
Now the question, of course, is what happened to the Elam, and is anybody in trouble over it?
Jeff Bernard finishes 3. And Terry Troxel back from a stroke and racing again finishes number 4.
Mike, it tells me that he might have gotten wet because if it was a mechanical failure, it wouldn't have magically fixed itself and him allowed to come back on the race course. So I have a feeling he got wet.
And I think number 5 is going to be Graham Trucking with Ken Muscatel.
And he gets the checkered flag.
Boy, I'm sorry we weren't able to see what happened to Dave Villwock. He got a bad start. He was late at the start and was coming up from behind people, and that's really when you can get wet.
And if memory serves me correctly, gentlemen, with the exception of the time that Dave actually turns the boat over and still wins, he was winning. He won every heat that he had participated in this year until this time. And Chip, you said earlier on in the day, there's always seems to be something, especially here in Seattle, that comes up to bite Dave Villwock.
Yeah, this is on the other hand, he's had more success here than almost any other driver except the greatest, Bill Munsey. And if he wins here on Sunday, he's going to tie Bill Munsey for the all-time winningest driver here in Seattle.
Bill Rocky continues on in the pits for us. Bill, take it away.
I'm with Matt Gregory's telling J-Dub where to go here. Matt, pretty good win, huh?
Left right, that was a great win. J-Dub, there you go, cut it. Hang on one sec, guys.
All right, Matt's a little busy. He's trying to get J-Dub into the right dock here.
That beat J.W. Myers, of course. The Todd Haas Presents Fairweather Masonry boat. Our winner. And still coming around as these boats wind down. We're still going to be watching for the Elam as well. But there is your winner. And a great race driven by J.W. Myers.
J.W. Myers grew up racing outboards right here in Seattle, the Seattle Outboard Association, where Billy Schumacher came from, I came from, and this is a big day for him to win here in Seattle.
Big victory for J.W. Myers, and Dave Villwock is returning back to the pit area, and he may have something to say when he gets in as to what perhaps it is that he experienced in this heat.
Listen to this. The lap, the race speed average, 155.714 miles an hour.
That is impressive. When you think of that Dave Villwock, I believe, qualified at 157, for J.W. Myers to race at 155 is remarkable.
Speaking of J.W., let's head back down to the pits. Bill Rocky's got your winner.
Hey, J.W. Myers, what a win for you. Great way to start.
Yeah, I was really worried about Dave. He's got a fast race boat, and, they've done a great job all year to get the Todd Haas guys up front here and doing well. To put a heat win together was great.
Really helps to win the first one, too, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, the problem is the 4 o'clock show tomorrow.
All right, J.W. Myers, the winner of this heat, guys.
But first things first, let's get to some awards here. Here are the official results now, Heat 1B. And J.W. Myers wins it in the Todd Haas Presents Fairweather Masonry. Steve David in the Oh Boy Alberto. But look all the way down at the bottom. That's the stunner. Dave Villwock finishes in last place in the Miss Elam Plus here in Heat 1B. Back to the award ceremony and Seafair's Dan Mortel.
Thank you. Welcome back to the Chevrolet Cup at Seafair Award stage. Here to present the award for Heat 1B from KeyBank, Jim Peoples.
Hi, I'm Jim Peoples. On behalf of KeyBank, I'm very pleased to be able to present J.W. Myers and the Todd Haas Fairweather Masonry boat, the trophy for Heat 1B. Thanks, J.W. We even got it.
And you're looking live here on this Sunday morning at the G-Boats circling the course here at Stan Sayers Pits, an exhibition again in preview of the racing yet to come. We've got live racing all day for you here on Lake Washington. The G-Boats are making some noise, and we've got more unlimited action. You saw the heats from yesterday. When we come back, live racing, unlimited hydroplanes on Lake Washington. And once again, good morning, everybody. The G-Boats just finishing their exhibition out here on Lake Washington. They go about 140 miles an hour. And as Chip Hanauer was telling me, they are the look of things to come in unlimited hydroplane racing. So we'll look for more of these boats, and maybe not exhibitions, but actually races in the not-too-distant future. One of the men who would like to see these boats race for real to get that Thunderboat sound back into the business is our play-by-play man, the best in the business, Mike Fitzsimmons at the start-finish line. And Mike, give us your sense of the day, starting with the course conditions.
Well, this Lake Washington Ted Jones race course is actually as calm and as soft as I've seen it in a long, long time. That doesn't mean necessarily that it's safe. This is a course over 56 years. As we all know, it has mood swings, and at any time can deliver some hard bangs to race boats not expecting it. Drivers very often have decided that everything was okay when it really wasn't. In the course of the day, we're going to change the dimension of the race course just a little bit here. What will happen is more boats will join the log boom. We're going to have a couple of wind shifts today, according to the Weather Service, and for a while we'll see some south wind, maybe even a northwest wind, and it may not be particularly strong, but as this comes to us, the effect that it has, the dynamic that it has on our race course is quite dramatic. It can change things just in a moment's notice. I watched the G-boats run out there. The churn of all those race boats out there as well will have an effect on this race course. And so the question becomes, what track do you get on Lake Washington today? And the answer is, wait a minute.
All right, a pretty good answer, too. Let's find out what the drivers are thinking down there in the pits. First to KIRO 7 Sports Director Gard Swanson, who is standing by. What boats are you covering today, Gard?
Well, I got all the Formula boats. Of course, those are the red ones, the former Miss Bud boats. I have the Miss Beacon Plumbing, the defending champ, as you mentioned earlier off the top of the show, Steve, and also this boat right here. You got to love this boat, and you got to love the crews that are surrounding the boats today, because the Acura of Bellevue have had all kinds of trouble this morning. They broke a bull nose last week in Tri-Cities, and then on the first test run today, they broke it again, and they've been working feverishly for the last couple of hours to get this boat in the water. They've had electrical problems. They had the crane break, but look, the boat's in the water, ready to go.
Say what you will about these crews, but they are tough, and they work extra, extra hard, especially on race day. Bill Rocky also in the pits. What are the stories you're looking at, Bill?
Steve, there's a lot of confidence over on this side of the pits. Over here, I've got Jimmy King in the Acura of Seattle and the Piston boat. They think they can win this thing. And just seconds ago, J.W. Myers came out, and instead of just walking in the boat, he high-fived every one of his crew members. They've got some confidence over here, and they think they can win this thing, too.
Confidence is strong. A great run from J.W. and his team yesterday. Let's see what they can do as we get set to go racing again, this time live here on Sunday morning. And if you're just joining us, have another bagel, fill up that coffee cup, sit tight, join us out here if you like, watch on TV if you will. It is the Chevrolet Cup at Seafair, and we've got live racing coming your way. Unlimited lights, Heat 2A and 2B in just a couple of minutes.
And now, a driver profile brought to you by Papa Murphy's.
When the 2005 season had ended, Dave Villwock had won 2 races and helped the Elstrom team to win its first ever national championship. A boat racer since the age of 16, he now has 52 career victories, including 5 Gold Cups. During his racing career, Villwock has driven some of the best equipment, including Pico American Dream, Miss Budweiser, and now the U1 Elstrom Elam Unlimited Hydroplane.
We're back to live racing today, Heat 2A, and here are some of the stories we're looking at. J.W. Myers won yesterday. Can he make it 2 heats in a row? How about piston power? We've got that for you, a throwback to the old days. And we've got one driver who's doing double duty today. The Unlimited Lights and the Unlimiteds. He is one busy camper. That's Heat 2A.
Heat 2A of the Chevy Cup at Seafair is brought to you by IHOP. Remember what fun tasted like? And is presented for Seafair by 76. Quality Pro Clean Gasolines.
Oh, we just can't wait to bring you live racing action. Here is the rundown for Heat 2A. Acura of Seattle, FormulaBoats.com. That's the number 2 boat. Haas presents Fairweather Masonry. Haas presents American Dream, Miss Car Pros, and Acura of Bellevue. And as we take a look at the course, just this side of 3 minutes, boats are already out there getting warmed up on a lovely morning in Seattle. Here are the drivers who will be laying it on the line in Heat 2A, starting with Jimmy King in the Acura of Seattle boat, the only piston-powered boat today, Mike.
Jimmy King's got the horsepower to do almost anything he wants out on this race course. The question is, can he position himself at the start to be able to have the options?
In the Formula Boat 2.com, that is, Mike Allen has one of those old Bud boats, and those things seem to just be running better and better each day.
They do, and there's no pressure on Mike Allen in this heat because he got a second in the first heat. So he just needs a second or third here, and he'll be fine.
Well, here's the young guy who was so confident after yesterday's win, J.W. Myers, winning in 1B yesterday, Mike.
Getting a little help this morning from Dixon Smith and some of the brain trust from the Miss Budweiser team, too. These guys are dead serious about winning this Chevy Cup.
Bill Rocky, nobody knows how serious they are except you. You're down there next to them.
They're really full of confidence. I just talked to Matt Gregory, one of their crew members. Again, the boat's running good. They like what they see, and they're confident that they can win another heat here.
All right, Bill, here is that American Dream boat. Greg Hopp is at the controls, and he's the guy who's doing double duty today.
Doing double duty, and he's in trouble here. He finished 4th in his first heat, so he's got to be up there in 1st or 2nd. I don't think he's got the boat to do it.
The Miss Car Pros, Chris Bertram is a young driver, and he's just starting to get his pants, his seat wet, if you will, Mike.
He is, but he's learning an awful lot, and he's got an awful good team to be working with, to be learning. The U9 team, Mike Jones, Laurie Jones' team, is a veteran organization there, and they're going to teach him what he needs, and there's good communication there.
All right, and we talked about the Acura Bellevue yesterday. J. Michael Kelly, lucky to get that boat on the water, Chip.
J. Michael Kelly's got his hands full here. He finished 5th yesterday, so he really needs a win here, and everything's been going hard for him since last weekend.
Gard, do they have that boat fixed? Do they feel confident?
Yeah, barely. They got out of the blocks a little bit late. Just a couple of minutes ago, they're finally on the water, and I did talk to J. Michael Kelly just a couple of minutes ago, and he said the biggest race today is going to be keeping this boat on the water. We'll find out what happens.
And that Acura Bellevue boat does not have radio communications, we just found out. Here they come, scoring up. Pat, it's a beautiful sight.
It doesn't get any better than this. We've got a rock festival with rooster tails ready to get underway here on Lake Washington. This is going to be a dandy heat. I'm anxious to see how Jimmy King does with his piston engine boat. Everybody kind of still roots for that power plant to win something here.
They do indeed. Ordinarily, the score-up buoy is the entrance pin to the upper turn. It will be the exit pin today, the exit pin. And so they are coming to the score-up position. It looks like Greg Hopp is going to have that inside line in the Todd Haas American Dream. That's the blue and white boat inside. It looks like breaking on through is the Formula.com, and in the 3rd lane, it is going to be J.W. Myers outside. It's the Allison-powered Acura Seattle. They're going to hit the line perfectly. That's the nicest start we've seen so far at the Chevrolet Cup at Seafair, and they rock it down into that first corner, and it is the piston boat and the turbine boat striking each other as they come through that corner, and now we got 4 abreast. That's about as pretty a turn as you'll ever see, Chip Hanauer.
Greg Hopp's doing what he's got to do because he's got to win this heat to have a chance to get in the final, in my opinion, and there he is on the inside right where he needs to be.
But on the far outside, look at the acceleration being demonstrated by that Acura of Seattle. Jimmy King is handling the course. They're all going to catch up to him, though, as they go into that corner. And once again, we have a crowd in turn number 2 at speed as they come around. Everybody holding on to their lanes. Jimmy King on the outside. On the inside, Greg Hopp in the Acura of Bellevue, or excuse me, in the Todd Haas American Dream, the blue boat. And once again, down to the start-finish line they come. 3-4 abreast as they come by, Pat.
And that's that piston-powered, Allison-powered boat that's out in front, the U3 with Jimmy King from Detroit. Chip in your turn.
Mike, it looks like a start all over again. They were lined up perfectly at the start line, just like a start, and that was like first lap.
As you said yesterday, Chip, driving from the outside and keeping the speed and the pace from the outside is difficult at best, but with this Allison boat, he's able to do it. But how is he going to be able to come across and take advantage of these other fellas? He's going to have to do it from the outside on a brute horsepower.
Well, the guy that's got to try the hardest is that blue boat on the inside right there. That's Greg Hopp, because he's got to win, and he doesn't have the equipment, but he's got the shorter distance to go. And this is going to be great, Mike.
Meanwhile, the FormulaBoats.com, that's the other red boat there in the center of your screen, is having a heck of a race also. And both the red boats as well as that striped red, white, and blue are just side by side again. And even the 13 boat has come up. Even the Acura Bellevue is getting into the game now.
I tell you, Mike, you can go to a lot of unlimited hydroplane races and not see heat this good. I don't know how many lead changes there's been.
Off the exit pin now, Jimmy King is in second place. It's the Formula.com out front at this point. And Jimmy is not going to let go. He's going to try to draw them clear into this corner. Pat O'Day, that's going to be horsepower turbine versus Allison.
Greg Hopp's dropped back into third, but it's Jimmy King and the U7. The Formula boats, and they're side by side. Here they come to the exit door.
I've got to interrupt you. This boat right there has a one-lap penalty.
Jimmy King knows it, and it doesn't make any difference because he's going to make it physically a first-place finish. Checkered goes to the U3 Acura of Seattle. Jimmy King. The 100 boat also has a penalty on it. He has finished across the line third place, but he is not third place. In fact, it's going to be the white boat. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe the possibility of the Acura Bellevue will do it, and he does.
He nosed him out.
J. Michael Kelly gets it done.
So J. Michael Kelly, they put that boat in the water at the last minute. They've been working on it all night, and he grabs the third place, it looks like.
I really didn't see a whole lot that they need to call on. You know, I mean, to me, from where, you know, I sit and I don't see everything, that looked like a really clean four-boat race. So I'm kind of disappointed that there is calls in that.
The official position was a bearing out in the lower corner when all four were together in lap 2, Chip. You know, that's where the penalty occurred, and that's simply a failure to hold a lane.
I saw that. They shoved Jimmy King quite a bit to the outside.
They did do that, yep.
It's too bad because that was a really pretty boat race. And Greg Hopp, you know, he did everything he had to do. He did, you know, Greg Hopp did the best he could. He didn't have the best equipment out there. And when you don't have the best equipment, you got to go up the inside. So as far as Greg Hopp, he did the best he could.
Chip, where it happened is, and it was obscured from your vision, just as they entered the first turn on the second lap, that's when they shoved Jimmy to the outside. Later on, they sorted it out, but that was the point of the infraction, I'm sure.
But I think the real message here, gentlemen, is the fact that that Allison boat ran literally in the 3 and 4 lane the whole way around and beat everybody, every one of the turbines from that position. That's impressive.
There's just a whole bunch of us that wanted to see that happen.
It's true, isn't it?
You know, and the guy that's going to take the most notice of that is Dave Villwock, because this piston-powered boat has been a boat that, you know, it's feast or famine. Sometimes it's just not even in the picture. Okay, here we go, coming into the corner here. Greg Hopp does a great job on the inside, holding his inside lane. But on the outside here, well, you know, frankly, I don't see it. I mean, I don't see the problem because you can see there's a lane right here. So the boat that got wet, he did that to himself. Everything here looks good to me still looks good. Everybody's holding their lane. I'm sorry, I don't see it.
I don't see it either, but that's the direction that the officials had called for down in that corner.
It just looked to me perfect. Everybody out their lane. Let's take another look. Okay, everybody's holding their little lane.
Hop nearly hooks there as he goes past that yellow buoy.
But if you look, there's the buoy. There's the next buoy.
There's a line.
I think he stayed in his lane. I mean, these boats, well, there's some distance
There's a little bit, and that is as close as they get, and apparently that was the call right there.
Well, I
agree with you, Chip. That was just close deck-on-deck racing.
That's racing, and, you know, it's like in any other sport. The officials shouldn't be calling it too close.
All right, guys, let's head down to the pits and find out what the winner thinks. Jimmy King, he's with Gard Swanson.
Rocky, Jimmy, it was a great heat, and he did it on the outside.
Yep. You know, what we tried yesterday didn't work out for us, so we gave it a shot from a different angle, and seems to be working out for the Acura of Seattle.
That was one of those heats where it wasn't over till it was over. I mean, everybody was in it there the whole way.
Oh, yeah. The Formula boats were running real well, but the Cooper family with Acura Seattle behind us this weekend, I think we got something for them this afternoon.
Big news, you got first place, you got the points.
That's the important part. We got the points. It don't count till Sunday afternoon.
Steve, a lot of guys rooting for the Acura of Seattle and that piston engine out here.
All right. And thanks very much, Bill Rocky. My mistake. Going to you. We'll be getting to guard in just a couple of minutes. But it is a great sight to see and to hear a piston-powered boat. But the other thing we've got to get sorted out here is this whole penalty situation, Chip.
Yeah, and I have to say, I don't agree with the call. I think in football, you got to let them play. There's some pushing and shoving. In basketball, there's a little pushing and shoving. And I tell you, I think Greg Hopp did the best job he could.
Mike, okay, Chip, they straightened out the call. It was not for a bearing out. It appears that the Formula.com struck the entrance pin.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
that is the penalty. Not that he caused a problem for one of the other racers on the track, but that he struck a pin, which of course you cannot do.
Because I would have used that replay that we showed in a class of unlimited hydroplane driving to show that this is how four boats should get through a corner, respect each other, give each other room. So glad we straightened it out. Let's go back down to the pits.
Tell me exactly what happened out there. Apparently, you got penalized in the lap because of a lane change.
Yeah, evidently coming up for the start, the 100 is inside of me. And when you throttle down with these things, the tendency is for the boat to shift out. So he throttled down. I went out with him. And when we came back in to grab our lanes back, that's when they made the call. But we both did it, so I don't know.
Correct call?
I can't say. They were up in a helicopter. From my stance, I don't know.
Pretty tight race, wasn't it?
It was very tight. That was 4 of us down the back straightaway, deck to deck. A lot of fun, though.
Exciting.
A lot of, yeah, plenty of excitement.
All right, good luck in the rest of the day.
I think, Chip, you've heard that sound in drivers' voices before, that deck-to-deck racing, and let's take a look at it. Look at this coming up to the start.
Well, let's see if we can see what happened here. He said it's a lane change before the start. Everything looks good. See how everybody's lined up nice and straight, so everything looks good there. Everything continues to look good. Everybody's holding their lane. There's a lot of room right here between boats, so I still don't see a problem.
See, this is after the start, though.
I don't
You're coming out of the first turn.
Okay, here he comes. Now, see right here, see how he's drifting out there? Oh, we just got away from it. But, yes, he did start to drift out. It didn't look huge to me, though.
It didn't look huge, but they've been watching this fairly closely across the United States this year, real tight. There's been an awful lot of monetary penalties handed out in the course of this season thus far in 5.5 races, and that's pretty tight officiating, I'd say.
Now, when Mike talks about a monetary penalty versus a lap penalty, what he means by that is official can look at that and say, well, it really didn't influence the race, so I'm going to fine the guy $1,000, for example, but I'm not going to take the race away. If you do something flagrant enough that it impacted another boat's ability to race, then he's going to give you a penalty.
All right, guys. Well, that is live racing here on Sunday morning, and here are the unofficial results. We'll make sure we get the official ones as we get back. But Acura of Seattle, the piston-powered, wins it with FormulaBoats.com as unofficially in second place. Miss Car Pro's third. Fairweather Masonry, American Dream, and Acura of Bellevue. So those are the unofficial results of Heat 2A. When we come back, more live racing.
Heat 2A of the Chevy Cup at Seafair has been brought to you by IHOP. Remember what fun tasted like?